Inspections waived, $100,000 over asking. I mean, there are some crazy things that we're seeing right now.
There are some crazy things, and we're here to fill you in on what's going on in the Central Ohio market right now.
Let's check out Central Ohio, explore the city. We'll help you discover the glory, and we'll reveal the nitty-gritty. You're joining Laura and Melissa. Hi, I'm Laura.
And I'm Melissa.
And we are talking all about some of the very unusual things that we've been seeing in the market right now.
Yeah, we're going to walk you through showings, offers, what you can do with your offer to get it accepted, and some finances.
It's unique. And I also want to let you know, we are standing in spring 2022. That's important to know because if you're watching this video way later, things may have changed. Be sure to reach out to us so we can update you. We are licensed realtors here in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, and subscribe to our channel because, we will update these videos and get, if there's something huge changing in the market, we will get you updated. So we want you to know all about living, working, playing, and raising a family in Columbus. So hit that subscribe button for sure.
Yeah, click subscribe. All right, showings is where we want to start. And Melissa, I was recently at a showing. It was a really, really adorable condo. They opened up showings on Friday, and just the weekend alone, there were 90 showings, and that really isn't out of the ordinary when we're talking about this time frame right now. It's certainly out of the ordinary for if you look at housing across the board, but it's wild right now.
Yeah, I mean, I had a similar example. I had a showing and I had my appointment scheduled. I did know that there could be overlapping showings, but when I got there, there were lines of cars and lines of people waiting to get into the home. It was like a busy open house rather than an individual showing.
So especially if you're walking into a home, a condo, any place you're thinking about buying, if the owners did a great job of staging it and it looks beautiful and you just really want to make an offer, be aware in this current market, a lot of other people are likely feeling that same way. So we want to help make sure that you put your best foot forward.
For sure. So we're going to talk about how to make your offers competitive. Some of the things we're seeing in our offers today are, what are some things?
Well, I actually don't recommend this one, but we have had some of our clients request to put in a waiver of inspection. Now, another thing you could do is maybe not waiver your inspection, but waiver your remedies. Those are the things where you ask the owner, hey, I'm going to buy your house, but you got to fix X, Y, and Z first. Some people are waiving those. I always love the safety that I feel of having an inspection done. That way, when I move in, I at least know the things I need to address right away. But that is something that we're seeing some people choosing to leave out.
For sure. And one of the interesting things that I saw in an offer was they had a non-refundable deposit, and the seller would get that deposit if they backed out during the inspection period. So it allowed them to be able to still get the inspection, and they knew that they were serious about the offer. But they were putting up that money and, going to give that to the sellers if they backed out during that inspection period. So just another little safety and, a way to make your offer strong, but still get that inspection in.
And I'm going to say this throughout the video, but I have to say some of these things, you have to decide what's right for you. That may not be something that I'm comfortable with doing, but maybe she is or he is. So all of these things are just some of the strategies we are seeing in this market right now, but you may not feel like it's right for you. So just think about it.
Yeah. Another thing, when we talk about what the list price is and what you want to offer, many people are going way over list price. Actually, in our neighborhood, there was a house that sold for $120,000 over list price. So it is happening. And when you offer something so above list price, you have to think about, do I need an appraisal? So do you have enough money down that your bank will not need an appraisal? Or do you have money that you can pay for the appraisal gap? So if the appraisal comes in short, do you have that cash to cover? Because a seller is, if they have two offers and they're both, $100,000 over, they're going to take that sure bet, the one that has the appraisal gap that will pay for a short appraisal.
Yeah.
All right, Laura, so we are going to talk about what you can do with your offers to make them strong. So what's the first thing they should do?
Well, right away, we recommend starting out with a realtor. Someone who's going to represent you, help you find that perfect home. help you get your offer accepted and help you through the entire process. Now, Melissa and I, we are both realtors here in the state of Ohio. That's different than real estate agents. So if you find someone and they say they are a real estate agent, that's great. We think a realtor is better. We're held to a different code of conduct and higher standards.
For sure.
So yeah, I would say your first step is reaching out to a realtor.
Because yeah, once you get connected with a realtor, they can help find the other people in your team. So it's really important to have a lender, and we recommend a local lender. They know the local market, they know some of the tips and tricks to get that offer accepted as well. And picking somebody who has an excellent track record that the realtor has worked well with in the past and communicates well is key.
I do have to add one thing to that. Ultimately, it is your decision what bank and what loan officer you use. But if you're working with a solid realtor, so Laura and Melissa, we go out and we sit down with local lenders in the area and we sort of have a pre-interview. So if you're working with a great realtor, they'll usually guide you to some of the better bankers in the area.
Yeah, and we can give you several options and then you can research those options, and if one of those doesn't fit well with you, you can certainly find your own. You're not held to that, but we like to suggest people who we know are, good
Quality.
in our industry.
Yeah.
So speaking of finances and lenders, this is not the time to, forget to pay that credit card bill or make a big purchase like a car. So those things need to kind of be halted. And you need to make sure that your finances are in top-notch order to move forward.
Yeah, that's our recommendation. We also are recommending that you remember cash is king. Cash is so big in this current market. And so what cash you have on hand, that varies from person to person. But what we have been seeing are some people who are able to come to the table and buy a house in all cash. Now that may not be your situation, but keep in mind, there are other ways, even if you have just a little stockpile of cash, that you can use it to make your offer more attractive. Have you run into some of those?
Yeah, so some of the ways that people are using cash to strengthen their offer is offering to pay some of the seller closing cost. Also, those appraisal gaps that we mentioned, if the house is not appraised at what the lender is going to lend the money for, you're going to need some cash for that. So using cash for appraisal gaps,
I have to
money.
pause 1 second because I've noticed a lot of people asking what is an appraisal gap. So just in case you're newer to this world, just like Melissa described, an appraisal gap is the bank or your appraiser. Someone comes in and they says the house is valued at, let's say, $100,000, but your offer is $120,000. You are offering the person who owns that property that $20,000 gap. That's called the appraisal gap.
Yes, because a bank is not going to loan you the money to buy the house for more than what it's worth. So that's where that comes in.
Good to know. Moving on to finances, we're still seeing conventional loans and things that we have commonly seen, but some other things too, like jumbo loans, bridge loans. These are things that not every bank offers, but some do, and they can be helpful in this market.
Other ways are trying to get creative with ways to find cash. So some people may have family members that have a lot of equity in their home that are willing to borrow that equity, and then you buy the home for cash and then turn around and finance it later. So definitely some out-of-the-box ways to work here.
And remember, we are not in the financial market, so to speak. We're just telling you about some of the things that we have seen with our own clients and that sort of thing. One other thing is cash. We mentioned this before. We'll mention it again because it really is guiding the Columbus, Ohio market right now. I actually just had a client. They had a very strong offer, and they had one of the other people who offered on the same home, the exact same offer, but they lost because the other offer was in all cash.
Yeah, let's talk a little more about cash. So not only is cash king because, they get their money right there. You don't have to go through the lending process and all the finances and, worry about something falling through with that, but also the appraisal. If you don't have a bank involved or a mortgage company involved, you don't need an appraisal. So it really does kind of cut all of those little contingencies out. So people can close much sooner on a cash deal and get their money, their equity out of their home without having to step through all those hoops with a lender.
Yep. And one last thing about finances, rates. Now, maybe talk to someone in banking or finances to understand this better, but essentially every time these interest rates go up just 1 percentage point, it impacts your buying power in a huge way. And so the thing that we want to remind you about is we just saw an increase where the rates went up a little bit. And as we stand here today in 2022, there are still 5 more opportunities before the end of the year where the correct people are going to be looking at those rates and they could decide to raise them again. So you want to remember, when those interest rates go up even just a little, it might make the amount you're able to offer on a home thousands of dollars lesser. If you're staying within the same pocket of money. So keep an eye on rates.
For sure. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the timeline. How long will it take for you to find a house and get that offer accepted? Well, in this market, it can be tough, for sure.
It's dicey.
Yes, it can take months. In some cases, I've worked with clients for over a year. So granted, they did take a little break in there because of buyer burnout. You start to get tired of submitting offers. But what's important is you just have to have plan B and maybe plan C. We don't want to guarantee that you can find a house and move, in a matter of months, because the reality is it just may not happen. With multiple offers, there's only one buyer, unfortunately, that will win.
That's on the buyer side. When and if you're on the seller side, well, it's gravy, so to speak. That's what a lot of people are calling it, because there are so many people seeking out a purchase and not a lot of inventory. So not a lot of homes. You're going to get extra people coming through and hoping to buy your property, most likely.
Tell me about, I think you had a case where the seller was able to get like 6 months of free rent.
That happened, back. Yeah. And it was an all cash offer too. So there was a seller. They had a weekend-long showing. They had numerous offers, and the winning offer not only offered to pay way over asking and in all cash, but this is huge and something I've literally never seen before. They said, we will close within the normal month, but then you can continue living there for 6 months until your new home is built, rent-free. Rent-free.
Crazy. Okay, if you have a house to sell before you buy a home, you need to take advantage of this seller's market and all the things that come along with being in this hot seller's market. One is, we already talked about that free rent back, if you need possession after closing. And what that does is it frees up your equity in your home early, because you're able to close early and then stay in your home and purchase a new home because you already have that equity pulled out. The other thing is a bridge loan, and we mentioned that too when we talked about finances, so definitely talk to your lender about that as an option. What that does is you're able to pull the equity out of your home, your current home, use it to purchase a new home, and you won't have that contingency of having to sell your house first. And then at closing, you pay off that bridge loan. So it kind of...
And remember, like she said, your banker, your lender, your financial person will explain that in more detail. We're just trying to give you a brush of what we've seen.
Yes. So remember, Laura and I are licensed realtors in the state of Ohio, so we're here to navigate you through this market and help you out every step of the way.
Absolutely. And we'd love to hear your thoughts. We want to know where you are in the process and really where you are geographically too. So be sure to send something down to us in the comments below or through our email. That's liveincolumbusoh@gmail.com.
See you later.
Bye.
We're here to fill you in on what's going on in the Central Ohio
market.
Jesus Christ! I need it spelled out for me so I can just
I really want to just start calling us a her. Where are you from? I'm from a her. I feel like this is us grazing thoughtfully into the distance. Are you really just thinking about what we're having for lunch?
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.